PC fam, welcome back to another episode of Chill with Chill. I know we took a brief hiatus. That's on me. I just needed a little time off. Had to go get some wind in my hair. But we are back. What do we got, Chill? We got 2 weeks before preseason starts.
No, what's today? Today is Thursday. Next Thursday, a week from today.
Next Thursday, a week from today. So 7 days from preseason.
Next Thursday.
It's on. It's on. Actually, I'm gonna be down in California. I'm trying to catch Sacramento versus Toronto preseason game on the 8th. I think on the 8th. I'm trying to catch that one. But man, you know what, Chill? Before we get into some basketball talk, we got some NBA, obviously some WNBA. We got some stuff to talk about, but before we do that, Chill, I got a question for you.
I'm listening.
Chill, I know you deep in the hip hop.
Yep.
I know you deep in the hip hop, and there was a little rap beef going on last year. But one of the main rap beefs that people talk about is Jay-Z and Nas. It ended. Nobody got hurt, unlike the tragedy of Pac and Big.
Right.
Well, Memphis Bleak was on Club Shay Shay recently. I've caught a couple. Shay, he's dropped some in segments. I caught a couple, and he was saying about Ether. In war, it's okay to lose a battle as long as you win the war. So I'm curious to know, did Jay-Z ultimately win that war?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I can appreciate the album sales. Jay was winning the battle early. He was winning the war early because he broke it down so eloquently in The Takeover. Smarten up, Nas. I could divide. What did he say? You had 2 albums in 10 years. Smarten up, Nas. I could divide. 2 of them shits was due. One was not. The other was Illmatic. That's a one hot album every 10-year average. And he was right because Illmatic was dope. It was dope, but it wasn't Illmatic. Then Nostradamus, it was all right. It wasn't great. And then after that, like Nas, we didn't really hear from him too much. So then Jay-Z is dropping all of this music. And what Jay-Z ultimately does is Jay-Z is basically trying to push Nas out the box, like Nas said about the Gambino rules. In order for him to be the Don, Nas had to go. The reason why Nas ended up being victorious is because Nas used everything that Jay-Z did against him. You want to be me. You want my spot. That's what Ether was about. You want my spot. Ox, I can't do you better than you. I can try, but I can't do you better than you. That's why Nas came back with the king is back. Come out of my throne. That's when he came back with all of that. And he broke down exactly what Jay-Z was trying to do. In 88, you was getting chased to your building, calling my crib when I ain't even give you my numbers. All I did was give you a style for you to run with, smiling in my face, glad to break bread with the guard, wearing jazz chains, no texts, no pause, no cars, no jail bars, jigger, no cash, no case, just Hawaiian shirts, hanging with little Chase. And basically what he's telling him is, you wanted to be me. That's what you was trying to do. You was trying to be me, and it wasn't working. And now what you're trying to do is you're trying to knock me out my box, trying to be me. You can't outdo me, brother. Nah, you can't. Right. Absolutely not.
Well, I just seen Memphis Bleak saying that. I think it was last night I was listening to it. I was curious. I wanted to know how you felt about that. But
he
you
did make a really interesting point, though. He did really quickly, Oxy. He did make an interesting point because Jay-Z came back with some really good music, and Jay-Z has been around for a long time. But the difference is that Jay-Z woke Nas up. And with him waking Nas up, he kept Nas back at the top of the game. So, no, he didn't.
Right. You know what is really slept on me, though, is that collab album that he did with Marley, that Distant Relatives album. I really love that one. That's one of my favorites. That Nas and I really did like that. But yeah, I just figured we'll start with a little hip hop talk. I was just curious, like I said. No big deal. Before we get to the NBA, we all know the WNBA. We are in the second round of the playoffs. We are tied 1-1 in both series. It's 1-3. The Phoenix Mercury made an amazing comeback on Tuesday evening to tie it up 1-1 against the Lynx, and the Aces handled business to tie it up 1-1 against the Fever. I want to talk to you about that, Chill. Let's first of all, a lot of people are saying that the Aces are getting an unfair whistle. What do you think about that, Chill? I mean, Becky Hammond has been very outspoken. She's talked about it. She says that the physicality is out of control, freedom of movement. There is no freedom. This level of physicality would not fly in the NBA. There would be fights. What do you think about that statement? And is it going overboard, or do we like this type of physical play?
Well, two things. Number one, Ox, a team like Vegas who comes into the playoffs rolling like they did, and there's a level of invincibility that they feel like they have. And Indiana, who's a team who, we don't have our best player. In addition to not having our best player, we don't have a number of different rotation ladies. So,
right.
Like, we basically got to scratch and claw for everything. So they up their physicality. And I understand why. Because, we're outnumbered in terms of talent. However, what Becky Hammond is doing, it reminds me, I immediately had a flashback, Ox, to 1993. And I remember how the Bulls got roughed up by the Knicks in 1993 in the Eastern Conference Championship. They basically got roughed up, and they were down 2-0. And Phil Jackson was in the press after game 2, and he said, quote, "They're playing that style of ball on their home floor. They're not going to play that style of ball on our home floor." Essentially what he's doing is he's working the officials. That's what he's doing. He's putting it, because the officials, they listen, they hear this kind of stuff. They say that they don't read the paper. They say that they don't watch TV. Yes, they do. They 100% watch this stuff. And he was basically working them to let them know that, this is what's going on. I'm putting this out there, and I'm putting a bug in your ear to let you know that they're not going to do this on our home floor. Well, we're moving over to Indiana, where Las Vegas is coming to Indiana. What we're not going to do is we're not going to try to rough them up, but we're going to show that this is how they're playing. So now you got to keep an eye on that. So she's basically needling the officials to let them know, and working the officials through the press. I don't have to do it. I'm going to do it throughout the game anyway. But if I can do it more in the press, I think that shines a light even more on them. And to her point, yes, they are getting rough with Asia. They are getting rough with Jackie, right? They are getting rough with Kelsey. And the reason why they're doing that is because from a talent standpoint, they outnumbered. We don't have what they have. So we got to figure out another way to score. And the only way that we got to figure out another way to score. We got to figure out another way to compete. And the only way to do that is, we got to play our style of ball. We got to jump the game up a little bit. Now, I'm not going to say dirty, because I don't think Indiana is dirty. But what I do think is that they're taking it a little far. Hell yes. Putting both hands on Asia. Roughing up Asia a little bit. Roughing Jackie up. When Jackie, not just Jackie, when Asia crosses half court. To your point, Ox, Leah Boston is doing her work early. She's meeting her at the long ball line. She's meeting her at the free throw line and holding her up. When she comes down to the block, she's roughing her up. Same thing with Jackie. When Jackie's in transition, they're finding her early on. They're putting more hands on her. And the reason why they're doing that, again, is because we don't have what you guys have. So we need every advantage that we can possibly get. And I think she's got a great strategy by working the officials through the press, because it's going to do nothing more than fans, when they come to the game, because they hear this too. When they come to the game, they're going to be paying way more attention to it. And they're going to be on the officials, the supervisor of officials. They're going to be on the officials to make sure that they're paying attention to this stuff. So don't be surprised, Ox, if you see some people foul out or some foul trouble early in game 3 tomorrow.
I think as long as they call them quick, call them early, and set that tone and let them know, like, we're not going for that. I think it's fine. I just don't want them to pick and choose. First of all, Chill, Asia absolutely has done a bit of flopping. 100%. 100%. I've seen that game to Asia. Asia 100% did a bit of flopping. You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy. I don't know Asia to be a flopper neither. It's crazy
right.
to say that.
And now I'm not saying I'm not saying she's getting, somebody pins their, you know how when sometimes you see somebody put an elbow up and it doesn't touch them and they, like, I don't think she's doing anything egregious like that. But I do think that when she's getting hit, she's making it known, like, no, I'm getting hit. And she's flopping a little bit just to show that. I can go either way with that. when this comes to attempt, as long as you're still trying to score the ball, and you're not just throwing it around trying to get to the free throw line, which I despise, then I'm okay. I'm okay with you showing that you're getting hit. For Aaliyah Boston, or if it's Natasha Howard or anybody that comes in, I'm okay with the physicality as well. I think that you need to hit her. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's fair.
I would, because I look at it like, I still think Asia looks at Aaliyah Boston as less than, but not
little sis.
Yeah, little sis. That's little sis to her from South Carolina. I think she still looks at her that way without disrespect. And I think Aaliyah has to let her know, no, like, I'm a grown woman too. You know what I'm saying? I'm here too. You're not just gonna little sis me. Here, take that with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I'm fine with the physicality. I think as long as the refs call it on both sides and call it early, I'm cool with it.
Ox, is it fair to say that somebody like Aaliyah, who is going up against a more experienced, more seasoned Asia Wilson, and I'm probably going to overcompensate to show physicality because I am younger, very much like a little sister. Like, I'm gonna fight back harder. I might hit you a little bit harder just because I'm a little sister. Like, I saw her go. Aaliyah had Asia on the block, and she ended up going to the hole and bowled her right in the neck.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Hit her with an elbow right in the neck. Now, I don't think that was on purpose, but I do think it was to send a message that I'm here. I'm not going to be dirty, but just to let you know, listen, you in for a fight tonight. I'm not just going to roll over and you're going to be able to just do whatever you want. Is it fair to say that Aaliyah could be overcompensating in that area?
I think so, but also I think there's nothing wrong with if I got a big girl on the block, I want you, when you make that spin move, I want your elbows out. I want you coming through mean. I want to, because it's supposed to be like that, where just like, for instance, if a player reached on you while you're going to the rim, they catch that.
Yes.
If they catch a shoulder here, they catch a shoulder here. They catch an elbow to when they reach for the ball. That's their problem. You're not supposed. Your face is not supposed to be there. For instance, Shaq was the most imposing figure in the world of sports in the early 2000s, and when he came through the rim, he came through like this, where I gotta move or risk a concussion.
He made space. If there was no space there, he was gonna make that space.
Right.
There's gonna be some open space.
There's some people that dislike Aaliyah Boston, and some people I've heard people say Aaliyah is dirty, and I've also heard people say Aaliyah is too soft and too nice. So it's so weird to me. But for me, that I think Aaliyah Boston is an amazing basketball player, and I want her coming through like that to Asia Wilson. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you come through the lane, I want you to make sure Asia knows you're there. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, Asia Wilson is my favorite basketball player in the world, but that doesn't mean that I'm dislike anybody else, or I want anybody to, not play good. I want Aaliyah to bring it to her every single night.
Sure.
And I do. Chill. We just got somebody call in. We were just about to transition anyway. So let's see what this person got to say to you, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Chill.
What up?
None other than the very own Mike the Champ.
What up?
Oops. Okay, Mike, you're muted. Oh, he didn't want no smoke. Chill. Never mind. He left. Can you believe that? The guy left. 1 second. Let me put the right background on. I just had the panel background. But anyways, so now we know Mike is a ducker. I don't know why you click the link and waste our time like that. Chill. So I'm excited for tomorrow. I believe we will be on playback for that. We'll let y'all know tomorrow on the panel if we'll be on playback for that. Before we move on, though, first of all, shout out to everybody that's watching. Shout out whether you're watching on YouTube or if you're watching on Twitter or if you're watching on Facebook. As long as you're tapped in, we appreciate you. Tomorrow is the day that you guys have been waiting for. You will see Team Ox versus Team Chill in the PCL Season 3, King of the Court style. After Team Ox and Team Chill go at it, you'll have Team Swiper versus Team Jordan. And then after that, the championship round. It is tomorrow, September 26th. Forgive the graphic, not September 27th. It will be tomorrow, September 26th. Don't miss it. Team Chill versus Team Ox. We will kick it off at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 p.m. over here on the West Coast. And right after that, Team Swiper will take on Team Jordan at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. And then the championship round after that. We're excited. I can't wait for can't wait for that. You guys don't be late. Make sure you get there on time because we're going to be going quick. I believe we're going games to 11.
Yep.
So if I'm not mistaken, games to 11. So you never know. That could be done in 11 rounds. You know what I'm saying? So y'all
like
don't be late to that. Don't be late. Chill. How you feeling?
And
about
remember
tomorrow?
too, and remember too, this is no, we get to practice and we get to run over some things. No, this is roll the ball out. Hey, Ox, check. Let's go. Tie your sneakers up. Let's go. And we're rotating. I stay on. If I win, I stay on. If I lose, get off. Next. And I'm this is basketball. This kind of debate, and this is basketball at its finest. This isn't, you get to practice, you get to go over things. Nah. I'm walking up to the park. I don't know nobody here. I don't know anybody that's playing, and I'm just out here rocking. That's it. And let's find out who nice. Check up, Ox. Check up. Let's go.
Chill. Last week, I wasn't on the show, but I was still tapped in. I don't know if y'all see me in the comments, but I was in there in the chat, just trying to bring my presence some way, somehow. And when I was watching, I was getting excited watching the Hall of Famers go at it. Like, oh, this is dope. I really like that. Don't get me wrong. Preparation is great. You know what I'm saying? Getting 3-4 days to go. I like that. But I really enjoy this on the spot type of debating. I think it's really cool. I think you have a good team for that too. Obviously with you and Fluent, ZZ, Dion. I think you got a good team for that. So it's gonna be fun tomorrow. I can't wait. Y'all make sure y'all be there. We'll be going at it. So don't be late for that.
Will. And I know y'all know that Ox is my man, but I'm gonna have to rough him up. Unfortunately, I gotta rough my boy up, so he ain't gonna take it personal. Just like I ain't gonna take it personal because he's gonna try to rough me up neither. So I'm ready. Let's get it on.
Right on. We will be getting at it, and we actually had to set our orders. Ron had me set my orders, and I wanted to sick Hayes or Gifted on y'all off the jump around. Like, no, you got to go first. So I guess me and Chill will be going head to head first round. So so y'all make sure to be there. I told you I tried to six from the logo on them, but
I tried to sick tone on you guys right from the beginning. That's what I tried to do. I tried to sick tone on them right from the beginning. Ron said, "Nah, you got to go first, Chill." I was like, "All right, that's what's up."
I'm fine with that. Chill. So word out right now is that the Utah Jazz, they're not looking to re-sign Walker Kessler. So he'll become a free agent next offseason. What does that mean, like for the Jazz? Like, what are they thinking right now? And what does that mean for the other teams? Like, what teams do you think should be after Walker Kessler? And does that mean that they are sold on Filipowski?
Yeah, Filipowski. Filipowski. So here's the thing, Ox. So this season right here, this was a team option, which means that after this season, he comes off the books. Now, if I know anything about Danny Ainge is a smart GM. Danny Ainge is not going to just hand Walker Kessler over for a bucket of extra crispy and a six-pack. He might not be a part of their long-term plans, because if he was, I think Danny Ainge would have inked them already. But Danny Ainge, being the businessman he is, I think he tries to get everything that he can possibly get out of guys. Excuse me. I think he tries to get everything that he can possibly get out of guys. And once he gets that, if he feels like he wants to move forward, then he definitely will. I mean, he didn't want to move forward with Kyrie Irving. I think that was a mistake. And what I mean when I say it was a mistake, Ox, I mean, you could have let Kyrie Irving go, but to just let him walk out the front door, I thought that was a mistake. We had to get something for him, whether it was a sign and trade, whether we move off of him at the trade deadline. I don't believe in players of Kyrie Irving's caliber to just let them walk out the front door. That's just not good for business. Not at all. Right. And a guy like Walker Kessler, who's 20, 22, 23 years old, and young fella. With the 20, I think he's 20, 23, 24 years old, something like that. If he's got an upside, you might not see the ups. You might see his upside, not like somebody else's. But Danny Ainge is a master at overselling. That's why he ends up getting more than what somebody is used to giving up. So if that's the case, if Walker Kessler is that, then he's going to play into this season. He's going to end up getting busy. With him getting busy, now come trade deadline, I might be able to get two or three ones for Walker Kessler. Let's say, don't be surprised, Ox, if Walker Kessler starts this season out where he's starting, where he's playing heavy minutes, where he's a force on defense. Don't be surprised if you see that from him because, again, he's in a contract year. Being in a contract year, you're going to see something different from guys in a contract year. We just seen this with Zion. I mean, Zion is in ridiculous shape. Zion looks like an actual basketball player. He's played good last season, but I expect even more from him. A guy like Walker Kessler, the defensive big that he is, I mean, like, when he got there, he was supposed to be like the second coming of Rudy Gobert. And it didn't exactly work out like that. He ended up making the FIBA World Championships. So I thought that they were on to something with him. I don't think that he's Danny Ainge's archetype of player. I think that Danny Ainge isn't interested in paying him long-term what he thinks he's worth, kind of like what was going on with DeAndre Ayton in Phoenix. So with that being said, I feel like we're in a situation where he's gonna get looked at in a high volume early on, and I think that Danny Ainge is going to milk this for all he can, and I think he's going to end up moving off of him at the All-Star break. Not the All-Star break, I'm sorry, at the trade deadline, which I think is good for him because I think he's going to get something for him.
Will Danny Ainge do business with the Lakers?
I think he would do business with the Lakers. I don't know if Rob would do business with him, though. That's the difference. Because Danny Ainge, Ox, you can appreciate this. When I don't operate in good faith, the word gets out on me. When I don't, when I know that I'm doing something that's gonna swindle you, and I know that for a fact, even though I'm trying to get the best deal possible, if I know that I'm doing something that's gonna ultimately sink you and put you in a bad space, other people see that, and they're not gonna want to deal with me. And I think the Lakers are in a really precarious situation right now because they built that unit, right, the way that they built it to try to win. And if Walker Kessler being available like he is available now, Danny Ainge is not going to just try to sell him on the low end. Like, yeah, I know you've called me in the past about him. Well, it's different now because they got DeAndre Ayton, right? In addition to having DeAndre Ayton, they've shored up a lot of their issues. With them shoring up a lot of their issues, Walker Kessler isn't a necessity right now. Don't get me wrong. Who can't use a 24-year-old glass cleaning rim protector like that? Who can't do that? Anybody can definitely use that. The question is what am I willing to give up? And I think that Danny Ainge is definitely interested in swindling a team like the Lakers, just off the strength that he used to just off the strength that he used to work for the Celtics, and there's always been that hatred there for the Celtics. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's going on. But I will tell you this: if he's dealing with the Lakers, they're on high alert and they know exactly who Danny Ainge is. So don't think for one second that Danny Ainge is just going to get over on them because he's not.
Right. Of course not. Well, I wouldn't expect them to. I would expect the Lakers to try to maybe move what they were trying to move for Mark Andrews or Mark Williams. I always call him Mark Williams last season. So I wouldn't expect anybody to get swindled in that deal. But I am gonna be, keeping my eye out on that and seeing how Walker Kessler starts the season and what his value is. I'm high on Walker Kessler. I like him a lot. But I'm curious. I'm just curious about Utah all around. Actually, I sent a message through last week, and I was wondering, are we maybe sleeping on the Jazz a little bit? Maybe are the Jazz maybe a little better than we think they are?
They might be,
maybe just a little bit. I'm not saying playoff team, but they might be a little better than we think they are.
But not the worst team in the Western Conference. They might be a little bit better. They might be better than 24 wins. They might be better than that. They might be 30 wins or something like that. I mean, I don't think it's ridiculous, especially considering what I saw from Lauri Markkanen over the summer. He looked fantastic. And with him looking as great as he looked, I already told you, Ox, I'm going to be watching more Jazz games this season. I'm going to watch more Jazz games this season because I'm going to be paying more attention to Lauri Markkanen. I do want to see the development of Isaiah Collier. I mean, they drafted him in the first round. Agbaji, he's in Toronto now, so he's not in Utah anymore. But Keontae George is still there, so I want to see exactly what they're building and how these guys have developed. I'm not
how good is a young fella though? How good is Ace?
Right, I'm not as high on Ace. To be honest with you, Ox, I'm not as high on Ace as a lot of these guys are. I think Ace has some holes in his game that I think it's going to take a lot to clean up. I think he's more of a project than he is anything. One of my best friend, he loves Ace Bailey. He thinks Ace Bailey is a 20-25 a game guy. He loves him right from the beginning. I don't think he's
20-25 this season.
Yes, he thinks he's that good. He thinks he's 20-25 a game. Yes, he thinks he's super nice. And being on a Utah, and I do understand where he's coming from. Like, who else is going to score over there, with the exception of Lauri Markkanen, right? Being on a bad Utah Jazz team and this team not being that good, well, we got to get buckets from somebody else, right? But I just don't think that Ace Bailey, the stuff that is necessary to average. I ain't just saying to get 25 on a weeknight. I'm talking about on a nightly basis. For him to get that, he's not there yet. He getting there though. He 100% is getting there. I think he can get there. I just don't think he's there yet.
Right. Yeah, I'm curious to see. I mean, I know a lot of people got a bad taste because of just all draft stuff or whatever it may be. But when I'm saying though, chill isn't, because I see a lot of people in the comments, they're like, "Oh, are you sleep on the Jazz?" Like, I'm not saying I don't think the Jazz are going to be a bottom 5 team in the West. I absolutely think they're going to be. But would you be where you rank isn't about, isn't necessarily how good you are. I think that we think that there's going to be, or we've been saying that there's going to be completely garbage, completely terrible. And I'm like, yeah, they might not win 35 games, but are they better than we think they are, is what I'm getting at. So
Washington is a prime example of that, Ox. Washington was at the bottom of the East last year, but I see the development of Sarr. I love this kid, Trey Johnson, that they got. I think that they're on to something with Bilal. I think that they're on to something with A.J. Johnson. I think that they're on to something in Washington with this team. I see the development. So to your point, with Utah, that's what I need to see. I need to see the development of these young guys to go, okay, they on to something in Utah. They might not be winning 30, 35 games, but these kids look like they're getting better.
Yeah. Well, we'll see, Chill. We'll see, definitely. Chill, I want to talk to you about, and y'all know how I feel about ESPN in their list. I'm real down on it with the list they've come with in the past year or so. But in particular, that top 100 athletes of the past decade, I just can't get over that. I never will. But Chill, Joel Embiid at 47 has been 46. Really rough. 46 has really been ruffling a lot of feathers. How do you feel about the list in general? I know you had an issue with the Anthony Davis placement. How do you feel about that, Chill?
Well, here's the thing, Ox. To your point, I understand where they are with Joel Embiid because of the injuries, but the way he looked last year, he didn't look particularly great, right? I think those injuries hampered his athleticism. I think that they slowed him down and made him look less than. So I can get with that. There was times when he looked like he was nailed to the floor, where he couldn't get off the floor, he couldn't get up and down the floor. So I can definitely get with that. However, I don't think that there's 46 players better than Joel Embiid. No, I don't think that there's 30 players better than Joel Embiid. I don't think it's 20 players better than Joel Embiid. I don't think it's 15 players better than Joel Embiid. When you want to talk about the top 10, we can have that conversation. But when you're talking about 30 players, 40, I mean, Joel Embiid still at 7'1", he's still one of the best mid-range bigs in the game. He's still one of the better rebounding bigs in the game. He's still one of the better defensive players in the game. He's still one of the better long ball, and he don't even shoot threes that much, but he's still one of the better long ball shooters in the game. Joel Embiid, 100%, is still a top player in the league. Now, they're going to do everything that they can to manage him, and they're going to do everything that they can to make sure that he's on the floor. That's why they're not playing him in back-to-backs. They're trying to preserve him as much as possible. But I think that if you're going off of what you previously saw, there's no way that you could tell me that Joel Embiid is at 46 and Victor Wembanyama, who wasn't a top 10 player going into last season, jumps into the top 5. That doesn't work. That logic just doesn't work right there. No, there's no way you can tell me that. I think one of the biggest issues that I had was J-Dub at 11 over Anthony Davis at 14. There aren't 8 players in the game better than Anthony Davis, just from a defensive standpoint. And I think that J-Dub, I think that he will consistently, barring health issues, I think he will consistently be a top 15 player for a long time. I think that's going to go off. I think that the space that I put him in is the DeMar DeRozan space. Not as a player, because I think that he could be better than DeMar DeRozan, but in that space, like second, third team All-Pro, where he's consistently a top 15 player in the game, especially on the defensive side of the ball, how versatile he is, how well he how well he manifests, how well he understands defenses, not just understands defenses, how he shoots gaps and how versatile he is at guarding different positions and how good he is at recovering when he gets beat. I think that he's one of those players that as long as he's healthy, I think he will consistently be talked about as a top 15 and in some instances getting close to the top 10. Anthony Davis, on the other hand, is that. Jalen Williams is trying to be that. Anthony Davis is already that. And he's proven that. And I'm not buying the logic. Well, Anthony Davis is always hurt. Just so you guys know, he came back and played last year. Even when on opening night he had the groin injury. He came back and played last year. And he was damn productive. That game when they played against Oklahoma City, when he ended up getting hurt, he came back in that game. I think he went 40-10 that game. So Anthony Davis, who last year was on pace to play 90% of the games. The year before that, he played 90% of the games. I mean, this is a guy who, for all intents and purposes, is one of the most talented bigs in the game. He was staying healthy not this season that just passed, but the season before that. And we now have a full off season where he's able to just focus on his body and stay healthy. He looked like he dropped some weight. He looks like he's in fantastic shape. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Anthony Davis can do. There's no way that Anthony Davis isn't a top 10 player in the game. 14, 13 players better than him? No, I'm not buying that at all. The biggest issue that I had, it wasn't just Vic dropping into the top 5. Because, Ox, when I think about the top 5, I immediately think about consistency. Like, you don't just play your way into the top 5 in a year. What I mean when I say that, Ox, is if you're a top 5 player, you've been doing something consistently for a while to get into the top 5, right? And I don't think Wemby has been consistent enough where we can say, yo, this guy's a top 5 player. Not yet. I'm not there yet. But the biggest issue that I have, Ox, and I know how you feel about Giannis. You think he's the best player in the world. I'm thinking to myself, what SGA did last season and leading up to last season. So leading up to last season, I was first team All-Pro 3 straight years. I finished second in the league in league MVP votes. I've been playing at a high level. I'm arguably the best guard in the game when it comes to not just point guards, but the best guard in the game. I am arguably that. And what I produced last year, when I led the league in scoring, when I won the league MVP, we won the NBA championship, and I won the finals MVP. Ox, I won't even go all the way back to 84 when Bird did that, and we called him the best player in the world. Even though Jabbar, Moses Malone, Doc, Magic, these dudes was running around. We said Bird was the best in the world. When Jordan did it in 91, he was in year 7. Just so you know, Ox, SGA is in year 6. He led the league in scoring, won the league MVP, won the NBA championship, won the finals MVP. We said he was the best player in the world. We did the same thing with Olajuwon in 94. We said he was the best player in the world. We did the same thing with Shaq. When we got to Shaq, we didn't say anything about him not being able to make free throws. We didn't say anything about him fouling out of games and Kobe closing out games. We didn't say anything about that. We said Shaq was the best player in the world, and we said that because we were right. He was the best player in the world. If Steph Curry in the 15-16 season, Ox, with him winning the league MVP, with him leading the league in scoring and winning the league MVP, unanimously, by the way, Ox, there was nobody else. If they win the NBA championship that year and he wins finals MVP, they would have said, let me rephrase that, it would have been Steph Curry is the best player in the world. That would have been going on. No questions asked.
It's a little hard with the Steph one, though, Chill, because Bron's still running around. You know, you can't just say that when Bron is still peak Bron at that time.
You can't.
You know, I have a little issue with that.
Absolutely.
I'm surprised, though. I am surprised that they don't got SGA number 1.
I don't understand why. That's the logic that I'm coming with, that I'm trying to make sense. Why isn't he the best player in the world? What's going on? Why?
I don't think he's the best player in the world, though. Chill. And you know, I don't think he is, but I'm surprised that ESPN didn't put him that way. Just like with the Wemby thing, they have to do that. Like they absolutely have to put Wemby top 5. You know, because it's for the casual fan first and foremost. And the way that they've talked about Wemby for the past 3 seasons before he even came here, if they don't have Wemby top 5, that's gonna look bad. And imagine if they don't have him top 10. It's like You know how much blowback they'll get from that worldwide? This is a 7'5" kid that can shoot the ball from half court. You can dribble. You know, they have to put Wemby top 5.
Which I'm comfortable with him being top 10 going into this season. I'm comfortable with that. But when I think about you being a top 5 player, think about the players that's in the top 5. Again, Ox, you think Giannis is the best player in the world. That's a top 5 player right there. What has Giannis done over these last couple of years to say that Giannis is a top 5 player? I'm 30-10 on a Tuesday and 6 assists. And I've been doing that consistently. I'm first team All-Pro. I've been doing that consistently. My team, I've gotten us into the playoffs consistently. We have not missed the playoffs 1 year consistently. This has been going on. So when I think about being a top 5 player, I think about being great. I think about how consistent you are. And when I think about SGA, I think SGA over these last 3 years, there's been a level of consistency that he's had. They went to the play-in. From the play-in, they made the playoffs. From the playoffs, they ended up in the NBA championship and winning it. And SGA has played at this level. Same thing with Joker. The same logic with Joker. And with SGA, what he produced last year, he's got to be at the top of the list.
Yeah, I can see that. Also, with the injured players like Kawhi and Joel, I understand, like, if you're going to put them on the list, that they have to drop. I'm okay with that. I'm surprised they didn't put Kawhi back a little further, actually. You know, so I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I understand some people are like, well, if you're gonna do that, then don't even rank them. I think you have to rank them. You know what I'm saying? But because we talked about that before, there has to be some scale, right? There has to be some type of scale where it's like, okay, if you're gonna play 40, you know, if you're gonna play 40%, 50, 60% of the season, you can't. Are you that good? Are you that good to where your 50 games are more impactful than this guy's 80 games? No way. I can't see that. I can't see that. I probably would have had Kawhi and Joel in the mid to early 30s. You know what I'm saying? 30 to 34, somewhere in that range for Kawhi and Joel. So I'm not too surprised. I think that's how it goes. I'm shocked, you know. And I've never been the biggest DeMar DeRozan fan, but DeMar DeRozan at 80 is just
it's not 75. It's not 78 players in the game better than DeMar DeRozan. Even at 36 years old, no, it's not. No, it is not.
It's crazy. Zach LaVine at 77, something like that. Kind of weird. Like I don't understand it. My go-to is always when you put that Sacramento on your chest, you're gonna get taxed for it. You're gonna get taxed for it. And I think I just don't see how. I don't see it. I just can't see it. I saw a couple of names. I'm just like, there's no way those dudes are better than Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan.
I still have a difficult time, Ox. I still have a difficult time with the All-Star game never being in Sacramento. I'm still having a hard time with that, still to this day. Of all the stuff that you said to me about Sacramento, of all the things that you say, getting robbed in the Western Conference Championship, Domantas Sabonis almost being murdered on national television, of all the stuff that you said to me, the All-Star game not being in the capital city of California is still blowing my mind. That's blowing my mind to this day.
Yeah, it's crazy, but we'll make it happen. Before we get to the title of the show, we're going to be talking about Kevin Durant's legacy being in shambles right now. We'll be talking about that in a couple of moments. First, let me get my man Big Fan Breezy on stage. Let's see what they got. Let's see what's going on in Brooklyn. What's up, Breeze?
What up? Nope.
Shit, man. Happy to be here, man. Shout out to the best two and duo. Shout out to the duo doing it. Now I'm saying, can you hear me?
Yep, you hot. Yes, you are. You hot.
Yeah. Yo, I'm not gonna lie, you know what I'm saying? I want to hear what y'all gonna say about KD, but I wanted to, you know what I mean, say to chill because I really don't get a lot of people I could talk to about older players that was before my generation. You feel what I'm saying? So, you know, I get into these spaces with you where I get the, you know, liberty or opportunity to have these conversations. And it was about Big O. Now, I'm not correlating this all to Cam Thomas, but Cam Thomas said something, but it reminded me of Big O. Now, you know about Big O. You know how Big O was the president of the NBA Association. He took the NBA to court, won it. You know what I'm saying? The players had an advantage when it come down to negotiating contracts. You know what I'm saying? Piece on it, but I'm gonna do a whole piece on it. But I wanted to ask you, like, a player of that happening, like, how did that change the league, and how is it significant to modern NBA, to what Big O did?
Well, it actually expanded the league, because now what it did was it allowed more players to come into the league, because now they're being treated fairly. See, before Big O did that, you look at the players that was in the league and they were just happy to be there. So Oscar Robertson shows up. Bill Russell, don't get me wrong. I think Bill Russell, 100%, him, Chamberlain, I think these guys stood for something. But with that being said, Jabbar stood for something. But with that being said, Oscar Robertson, he wanted fair treatment for all players. And with him doing that, now more players are looking. Now more players are looking to become players in the NBA, because at least if I'm going to play there, I'm going to get treated fairly. I'm not just going to be a guy just collecting a paycheck and I just got to shut up and do whatever you say. No, I do have rights. There are things that I am entitled to in terms of my rights. And I feel like the Big O, what he did was he opened up the door to that, to now players today, modern players today, who now recognize that, I don't have to play in Oklahoma City. I don't have to live in Phoenix. I don't have to, I don't have, not necessarily practice. Practice isn't the word I'm looking for. I don't have to allow this team to run me into the ground. I can get fair market value for my services. And if we're going to play an all-star game and the Nielsen number is 7 million, that means plenty of people are watching this. That means that you got to pay us more. Stuff like that. It's stuff like that I think Oscar Robertson opened the door to. Because remember, they were talking about boycotting the all-star game, which was live on national television.
Damn, I ain't never know that.
So think about the all-star game in February. The all-star game in February, the players go, the game's coming on in, I don't know, later on tonight. And the players is like, we ain't playing unless you do this. We not playing. And it's scheduled to be tonight. And the players is like, we ain't playing if you don't do this. And that's what Oscar Robertson did. And those guys decided that, all right, whatever these guys want, let's get it for them. Otherwise, we're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, that's dope.
Absolutely.
That's dope. You got to hit them where it hurts. But all right, Breeze, appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Hey, Chill, before we do talk about Kevin Durant and his legacy, is the NBA and also talking about players' rights and just showing players love and how the NBA treats the players. Is the NBA pushing Russell Westbrook out the league?
I don't think the NBA is pushing Russ out the league more than Russ is making it. And I love what Russ is doing, to be honest with you. I think that we get wrapped up in when a guy doesn't get signed that they're running him out more than Russ is writing his own ticket. Russ went to play in Denver for a little bit of money. Russ is 37 years old. Russ is top 5 all time in money made in the NBA. I don't have to do this. I'm straight. I don't have to do this. So what Russ did was Russ narrowed it down. I'm looking to be closer to my family. And because I want to be closer to my family, these are the places that I'm interested in playing. Ox, I'm certain that there's teams that have called. I'm sure that Miami, I'm sure that the Celtics, I'm sure that Milwaukee, I'm sure that there's teams that have inquired about Russ because Russ is still a really good player. He might be a rotation guy, but he's still a really good player. If I'm going to move to Boston, if I'm moving to Atlanta, if I'm moving to Miami, because remember, if I'm not this 22-year-old snot-nosed kid, Ox, that's fresh out of college, that wants to be in the club and making it rain. No, I'm an adult, right? I got a wife, I got kids. If I'm moving to Miami, if I'm moving to Boston, you got to make it worth my while. That $2 million, that $3 million, that's a little bit of money. That's not something that I'm interested in. And meanwhile, Chris Paul is out here getting $11 million as a vet. And again, what I'm not doing is I'm not pushing myself up against Chris Paul to say that, this is what I deserve. No, what I am saying, though, is that I'm still viable and I am still a good player. And if you want me to come to your organization and uproot myself, you have to make it worth my while. I don't think Russ's game has gotten pushed out of the league. I don't think Russ is getting pushed out of the league. I think Russ just made himself more of a commodity when he said that, listen, I'm not going to play anywhere further than this right here because I want to be closer to my family. I want to be able to get to my family. I want to be able to see my family more on a regular basis. And I dig that. That's people see that Russ isn't, signed and they automatically think he can't play anymore. No, that's not the play. That's not the case at all. Not at all.
Okay. No doubt. Well, let's get into the title. So we all know Kevin Durant has moved to the Houston Rockets. He's left one team, went to another team. My thought process is that Kevin Durant's looking for another ring, or why would you go to the number 2 Houston? I understand he got traded there. I do understand that. But chill, with Fred VanVleet going out, I think most of us have written them off as championship contenders. I don't think most of us see them as championship contenders any longer when you lose your starting lead guard. Also, it's well known in most basketball circles that most of us believe, hey, he had to go play with Steph to win a ring. And he hasn't been able to duplicate that since he left. I know there's injuries with the Nets. I know there was injuries with the Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker has said, man, those last 2 seasons were some of the worst seasons of his basketball career. You know, and I'm not sure if that's a direct shot at Kevin Durant. I don't want to say that it is. I don't know what their relationship is like. But the common denominator is there was Kevin Durant those last 2 years. Now no Kevin Durant. What's his name? Ishbia?
Yeah.
Mishbia. He's come out and said, I mean, Kevin Durant, we love Kevin. No hard feelings towards Kevin, but he wasn't what we were looking for to build forward. You know what I'm saying? We got a young guy in Jalen Green who led in the number 2 team in the West in scoring. Regardless of how y'all feel about his efficiency and how he got those points, he led that team in scoring. Dylan Brooks still got some youth in his legs, and he's a hard-nosed defender. They got the draft that was Malawat. So they believe they won the trade for Kevin Durant. So that leads me to ask you, Chill, is Kevin Durant's legacy in fact in shambles?
I don't think it's in shambles. I think that it's damaged. I don't think it's wrecked. And the reason why I don't think it's wrecked is because I understand why he did what he did when he demanded to get traded and Phoenix was the destination. Well, Phoenix was still a viable team. Phoenix was still close. Like, even though they got smoked by Dallas in the semifinals in 23 or in 20, I want to say 22. Yeah, even though they got smoked, I don't think they were that far away. And I think that KD was looking at this group like, all right, I could get on that crew, and with Devin Booker, with DeAndre Ayton, we can make some noise and quite possibly get ourselves back to the Western Conference Championship or the NBA Finals. And when you get to the NBA Championship, you need some things to go your way. You 100% need some things to go your way. But this is the legacy that Kevin Durant has made. So when he stayed in Oklahoma City for those 9 years, once he left Oklahoma City to go to Golden State, it wasn't about nothing else but winning. That was it. It was about winning the NBA championship. It wasn't about just getting on the crew and scoring a bunch of buckets and being a flashy player. No, it was about winning. And when he left Golden State, instead of staying in Oklahoma City, he went to Brooklyn. And it was about winning when he got to Brooklyn. And when it didn't happen, when he got to Brooklyn, when he left Brooklyn to go to Phoenix, it was about winning when he did that. Only problem is after he left Golden State, it hasn't worked. That's the problem. And in terms of them winning NBA championships, I'm out on the KD experiment. I think that thing was years ago, and I think that the window has ultimately closed on it. I think that KD, when he left Golden State to come to Brooklyn, he was broken. That Achilles was an issue. It hasn't been an issue, but I mean, it's obvious that, you know, KD doesn't move like he did 6-7 years ago. There's still some things that KD, I mean, he's getting older, and I understand that. But with that being said, this is the same guy who's trying to win. And with him trying to win, he's trying to put himself in the best position to win. And when he left Brooklyn to go to Phoenix, even though that team, I don't really feel like it was time to blow that team up, but at that time to get Kevin Durant, it did make sense. I did understand it. And if you're not going to do that, you're probably going to be in a world of trouble. So for the owner to say KD wasn't a part of our future, absolutely nice. 37 years old. He was a part of our right now. And it made a lot of sense right now to do this because we were trying to win in the short term. So because it didn't work in the short term, now we're looking more long term. And because we're looking more long term, we got to move off of KD and we got to start building around these young guys. We got to start building around Malawat. We got to start building around Mark Williams. We got to start building around Jalen Green, guys like that, off the strength that this is the future of our organization. These are the guys that are going to be around. KD was a short-term solution. And KD, wherever he goes, moving forward, because that's what he's doing, he's chasing rings. You and I had this conversation about this earlier, Ox. He's ring chasing. That's what he is. He's a short-term solution. He's not going to Houston for this to be a 3-4 year experiment. Nope. This is 2 years tops, Ox. 2 years. Right. This year and next year. If we don't win it, we out. There's no way. There is no, we're going to sign KD to a 3-4 year deal. Nope. We got 2 years to do it. That's it. After these 2 years, if we don't do it, I'm out.
Yeah. And, you know what? Forget all that. I just got a straight up question. If, hypothetically, of course, because last year, Houston finished number 2 in the West.
Yep.
If Houston finishes number 5 in the West, 6 in the West this year, first round exit.
This thing's a failure.
What does that say about Kevin Durant in this move? And if he retires in another year with the same kind of outcome, will he retire with a stain on his resume?
Yes.
What will people say about Kevin Durant? What will the narrative be? Or what? Damn the narrative, chill. What will the truth be about Kevin Durant?
He should have never left Golden State. That's the truth. He should have never left Golden State. That's going to be the truth about Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant left Oklahoma City to go to Golden State to win. That's where it was happening. And he left there because he had rabbit ears and he thought that he could rebuild what he had in Oklahoma City in Brooklyn. And it didn't work. He thought that he could rebuild what he had in Phoenix, and it didn't work. Now he's trying to restore that again in Houston. If it doesn't work, if it does not work, that's going to be the narrative on him. KD made a mistake leaving Golden State. He should have stayed in Golden State because, 1, they would have paid him. 2, he would have won more because they wasn't coming off of Curry. They would have came off of Clay like they did way before. They would have kept that group of Curry. They would have came off of Draymond, if I'm being honest with you. I think they would have came off of Draymond before they came off of KD. So with that being said, his legacy and the narrative on him is not that he's weak or that he's soft. I'm not going to say that. What I am going to say is him leaving Golden State was a mistake. The idea was to win. And if the idea was to win, you should have never left Golden State. And I think that he's going to look back on this 10 years from now, 15 years from now, and go, I should have stayed there because that's where it was. That's where I was going to win. That's where the legacy was going to be. They've already said when you got there that it was a bomb squad. They already said when you got there that you win and you was on a super team. So I might as well keep doing it. I might as well get 3, 4, 5 championships doing that on a bomb squad. I might as well do it because if I end up going somewhere else and I don't win, all of these experiments are failed experiments, Ox. Not only are they failed experiments, look what these teams had to give up to get him. Look what they had to give up to get him. And if you think about Phoenix, Phoenix, they had to empty 4-1s. In addition to emptying 4-1s, they had to come off Mikal Bridges. They had to come off a whole bunch of different things in order to get him. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Mikal Bridges isn't the caliber of player that Kevin Durant is, but they still were building something with DeAndre Ayton, with Booker, with Mikal Bridges, right? They ended up losing Chris Paul. I still think that they had to show up the point guard spot. They could have kept those draft picks and maybe drafted a point guard and still built off of that, but instead they were trying to win right now because that's what KD brings. KD brings that instant, the instant expectation of winning because that's what happened in Golden State, which was a decade ago.
It wasn't just Mikal Bridges, it was Cam Johnson too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right, so.
Yep.
Now, chill. If the Phoenix Suns are better this year than they were last year, and the Houston Rockets are worse this year than they were last year, sorry, guys. That's a big stain on the guy's resume. Sorry to be the one to have to say it.
Well, Ox, to your point, I don't think that the logic on KD isn't, he can't win without this. We already said that's already been going on anyway. So now, if the Phoenix Suns end up winning, they won 36 games last year. Ox, they win 40 games this season, and they knocking on the play-in door, or they end up making the play-in tournament, and Houston ends up dropping to the 5th or the 6th seed. How am I? Now, I'll tell you what, Ox. in a perfect world, in an alternate universe, can you imagine if Houston ends up dropping to the play-in tournament and they get bounced by Phoenix, who plays themselves into the play-in tournament?
Oh man, Devin Booker 55 against the Houston Rockets.
Can you imagine that, Ox?
He
would never be able to live that down. He would never be able to live that down.
No way, especially if Jalen Green's balling out. Yeah.
Yes, he would never be able to live that down. Never.
I told y'all after the trade. Who's to say that Jalen Green's not better than Kevin Durant by the end of this season?
In Phoenix.
I don't know that. Jalen Green's going this way. Kevin Durant's going this way. So, we'll see what happens. But we do got to get out of here soon. So let's blow through these super chats real quick. First, Cowboy Bob says, September 27th, want free ear pods plus $100? Drop your rebuttal to MJ's 45 season take in the comments of episode 139. No challengers equals chill, and Bob pick a random chat member for the prize. Go New York, go.
Well, I ain't picking no random chat member because we ain't just giving you $100. You got to earn that $100 and some AirPods. Nah.
Right, no doubt. This ain't a charity show.
No, this is not. If Bob is doing that, then you're gonna have to debunk him. So nah, I ain't doing that.
Right. Breezy sends through a members chat. Breezy's been a member for 26 months. Shout out to you. Shout out to Brooklyn. Cam Thomas should be the '1 option for the Nets.
I think he will be, to be honest with you. I mean, if we being honest, I mean, I think that MPJ is their best shooter, and I'm not gonna argue that point. But with him being their best shooter, I still think that Cam Thomas is their best scorer. And I don't think that's anybody that looks at that Brooklyn Nets roster. I'm pretty confident that they know Cam is their best scorer. MPJ is their best shooter, but Cam is definitely their best scorer. So, I mean, I don't think it's ridiculous to think that Cam will be leading them in scoring this year. No, I don't think that's ridiculous at all. I think the issue in Brooklyn is Cam Thomas want to be paid like he's an elite guy, and I don't think he's there yet.
Right. In this super chat, Bob sent to let y'all know that in the next super chat I'm about to read, he's actually talking about Lauri Markkanen and not Walker Kessler. So I'll read it that way. Lauri in Memphis, Miami, Charlotte, Detroit, or Chicago. What is his best option? I say Detroit or Memphis. What say you guys? Also, why no Brunson love for this season? Knicks coming for the #1 spot. Go New York, go.
Well, I'm good on him in Miami because I think that they've shored up their front court. I think that I'm good there. I think Charlotte would wreck him. That's just going from one bad situation to the other. And I think the Utah situation is actually better than the Charlotte situation. I do like him in Detroit, but in Chicago, he was already in Chicago and they shipped him out. I'm not really feeling him going back to Billy Donovan. So I don't hate him in Memphis. I don't. I actually like him in Memphis. I like him in that front court, even though I think G.G. Jackson is going to ultimately emerge back into what I thought that he was going to be. But with that being said, I do like Lauri Markkanen. He brings something that they don't have. Like him running with Ja Morant as a transition big. Yeah, he'd be great on that crew. 100%. He'd be great on that crew. I would love him on that team.
I think of those options, I would actually probably go with Miami, but I like them. I like it. But we have reached the end of the show, y'all. Appreciate everybody for pulling up.
I'll turn my phone off because that's Claire already. She already hitting me.
Claire does not play. I want y'all to know that tonight on playback.tv, you can catch us there doing a throwback Thursday. Don't miss it. I can guarantee y'all there will be a great game tonight. Don't be late. I'm not sure what the game is, but we'll see in a couple hours. Don't be late to that. We will be there, I believe, at 7 p.m. Eastern. So get there. That's all I got to say about that. Just get there. Show up. Watch some good hoops, man.
Come check us out, man. You know where to find us at. You know where to find us. Me and my man, the big fella, we here. Every Monday to Friday, 11 to 2 on the Players Choice Network on the panel. We are not hard to find. We will see you guys really soon. We will 100% see you guys really soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. When's the last time you talked to your mother? Call your mother. I just talked to my mother a couple of days ago. And if you're ever in the Portland area and you had too much to drink, hey, call the big fella. He'll make sure that you get home. He got you covered. Promise you that. So we will see you guys soon. But until then, take it light. Take it. Absolutely, man. It was good to see you guys today. No doubt. This was dope. No doubt.
Peace. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all in a couple hours on playback. Don't be late, y'all. Make sure to show up. Keep supporting the channel. We love y'all just like y'all love us. We'll see y'all soon, man. Peace out, man. Oh, don't forget, never, ever, 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 ever drink and drive, y'all. We'll see y'all in a few hours. Peace.
Don't do that. Later.